The intervention we are focusing now was initiated by undesired situation in the water sector. According to the Kenyan Constitution 2010, the government recognizes water as a right, as a human right. And water as a human right, according to the United Nations, provides for every individual the right to access safe water, enough for personal use. And this water should be adequate, should be accessible and acceptable and affordable to the individuals, and enough for their personal and domestic use. When you come to Kenya, only about 60% of the Kenyan population have access to safe water, according to the impact report produced by WASREP in 2013. It means that 40% of the population do not have access to safe water. If you look at the boards, the Lake Victoria South Water Service Board, Lake Victoria North Water Service Board, and the northern Kenya areas, they have the lowest water coverage, ranging between 30 up to around 40% on average, as compared to 60% of the national average. But again, at the county levels, there's further variations. You find that, for example, in Kisumu, according to the most recent study by UNICEF, only 48.5% of the population are accessing water from improved sources, which means close to 52% of the population in Kisumu County do not have access to safe water. This, again, within the county, you find that urban areas are the ones with the best access, with close to 60% of the population in urban areas having, like Kisumu City, having access to water from safe sources. But when you go to some areas, for example, the sub-counties, like the Seme sub-county, Nyakach sub-county, they all, and even Moroni, they have access below 30%. It means that up to close to 70% of the population in these areas are accessing water from unsafe sources.
Though okobere gi mama dhano nikech gimora mora mudo kanyo nyaka duk jibe ko de kata ngato da tuome tido ko yoro to dhi otuomo at the same time pi moyoro ni ema dwano dhi otiyo. Koro pi ma ji tuomo ma nyiriwo ji nyaka guogi nyaka kila kitu ema ngato biro to keto tie gimoro ni alam. Koro kosechilore ma chudo kodok piny tinyado ni ma ngato chingo ni ang' mogo nikech bende ki tia kode kamano bende shida mag problem mag ichgi though ni no kinyal ng'eyo ni tabu wakanye mana kisechopo hospital ko gibiro nyisi ni in gi problem kabila.
Watiyo gi pesa mang'eny mondo mi wayud pi aka nyaka miri bor kabisa to ka wadhi waomo pi gi punda to wuon punda bende dwaro pesa to kube achiel en Sh20. Koro nyiso ni jambwa thagore malich mamoko tho nikech riyo.
It's against this background that SANA and ACT, Changieni Rasili Mali program, initiated policy influencing project which targets Kisumu County, and it had three main pillars or strategic focus areas. One is on policy influencing. The second pillar of the intervention is on networking and collaboration, particularly amongst the sector players. Third area of intervention is improving services to the water consumers within the county. The first thing we did was to formulate strategies of engaging with the county government. The project came on board when the county governments were just being established, and we realized that there's a need to enhance the capacity or to improve the policy environment within the county to enable the counties to deliver on their mandate. Well, the first intervention was to come up with interventions aimed at engaging the county government. So in this process, we actually organized a water conference for Kisumu County. And in the water conference, we were able to share some of the challenges involved within the sector. But the other strategy we engaged, which is the primary strategy within this particular pillar of intervention, that is evidence-based programming. We did undertake a number of studies which we intended to use to influence policy. We wanted an informed approach to policy influencing. So we conducted a water equity study. We also conducted a water consumer satisfaction study using citizens report card approach. And through these studies, we were able to establish the key challenges and concerns within the sector. When we did all this analysis, we went ahead and shared these findings in the water conference, which was held in 2013.
Development partners present here, water resource providers and managers, panel of presenters are here who are present. Ladies and gentlemen, and the great people of Kisumu County, good morning. Water is life. I noted, because it is life, there has been a scramble to provide water in Kisumu, Nyanza in general. That's why it is so important that this conference comes up with proposals and proposals that we can incorporate in the county integrated development plan, and to ensure that at the end of it all in 5 years, we'll be able to achieve the goals that we will have set for ourselves.
Now, in the water conference, we were able to now share with the county government these findings from the studies.
First of all, we'll start by looking at the overview of water supply and sanitation in Kenya. And basically here, we know that in many authorities, we have reported that actually Kenya is classified as a water scarce country with very little water per capita, for example, fresh water. This is basically based on the flow, which refers to the internal river flows and groundwater from rainfall within the country. So you can see that Kenya is one of the countries that can be referred to as stressed because it has even less than 1,000 per capita of cubic meters of water. Now I'll move to the issues of water supply and sanitation coverage, and in this particular case, I was basically looking at customer satisfaction in Kisumu County, and I was able to do some interviews with the water service providers as well as the customers that are using the water, and therefore come up with the basis of this reporting. Some of the issues that came up in terms of performance, we see that the service coverage was a bit low, especially when you look at the standards that are provided by WASREP, because, for example, Kiwasko is only covering 53% of what's supposed to cover, while Nyanas is covering 50% and Girls is covering only 30%. In terms of revenue water, as already has been alluded to, we find that, again, it is very low, because we find that some of the service water providers are not even meeting, they are not collecting anything from, I mean, they are getting a lot of water which they are not even accounting for.
And we brought about key action areas which we felt needed to be taken by the government to revert the undesired situation. For instance, we advocated for increase in budget allocation for the water sector. We also specifically requested for appointment of a coordinator within the county government to coordinate water and sanitation activities, particularly with the non-governmental organizations. And we also requested for the county government to allocate budget for networking collaboration.
The former setup did not have a provision for such for this office. Now when the WASH network came in, it was the idea that anything that is done by the NGOs and these other actors, they are not very much sustainable. When the programs go away, when the NGOs phase out, the program also dies. But to have an office within the government makes it sustainable, because I cannot be here one time, but somebody will be here, the office will be here. Somebody can be posted to head this office. So in one way or another, it is now it came from the lobbying by the WASH network.
we particularly targeted the utilities, and particularly the small utilities, which according to some studies have indicated that 40% of the population served within the Kisumu County are served by the small utilities. So we felt there are a significant lot which we could target because they don't get any significant resources from the government. They are mainly managed by volunteers in spite of performing that significant role. So we targeted them for capacity building so that we are able to enhance their ability to deliver on their mandate. And this focused on training them on management skills. Also, we focused on inducting them on proposal development because we realized that lack of resources is a major hindrance to their ability to rehabilitate their systems and improve on their service delivery. We also induct them on the need to professionalize their services because at the moment some of them are serving big populations but they have running pipe networks but just being run by volunteers. So we encourage them to adapt modern management practices, including professionalization of their schemes. We inducted them on different models of professionalization of their management.
Puonjruok moko mane gimiyowa nen kaka wanyalo timo management mar pigni gi model mane gimiyowa. Model no mane wakungo yudo ne iluonge ni DMM model, Delegated Management Model. Koro nekech gigi kidwaro ng'eyo gima tich jatelo en nyaka ing'e chenro no maber. Koro gisepuonjowa mondo mi wang'e gima wan kaka jotelo motelo ne jopiny.
We benefit from resource management training, whereby we were able to train on how to develop our proposals, and already we have developed one, which was targeting the CDF and other bodies. So very soon we know we are going to get response, whether positive or negative.
ACT helped us in mostly on project documentation, because although we were maintaining some records, but they were not very much up to date. And one of the things they did through seminars and that kind of thing was resource mobilization. And on resource mobilization, concentrated on project proposal writing, because that's where most of us, I think, we were weak.
Puonjwa mokwongo ne ginyiso wa roles wa mano puonjwa mokwongo mane wadhiye. Mar ariyo ne wadhi mondo mi ging'e kaka sofa kaka wasetiyo ka wan gi challenges mane waromogo, gima nade mane wakawo, weche mage mwakadhe, mondo ne wapuonjre mondo wang'e kaka wanyalo kalogi. Mar adek ne wadhi e puonjruok mondo ka wan gi wadwa ma jo providers, koro ne wan e group achiel, koro ne ing'iyo kaka wanyalo timo, wanyalo maja mondo mi kik wabed gi ywaruok e kindwa.
Yes, we were trained at Ahero, I can recall, and we were taken through the conflict resolution, leadership training, the roles of consumers, and also how we can actually come up with ways of managing the supply.
We took about 1 week kanyo mopuonjwa kaka yore mag pi, rito pi, kaka wanyalo guide consumers, kata ka nitie problem to koro wang'e kaka wa handle gi.
We got to know the rights and responsibilities of the consumers. They are linked to the water service providers. So we now know what me as a consumer, the other person as a consumer, their rights and responsibilities. We have that training in now.
Sama wawuothe gweng, the community, within the community, to ayudo ka gin kod problem, to wakao problem no kaka marwa, to watere ne service provider, wanyisogi kuonde mwayudo kaka jogweng ywak, complain ma jogweng' niko gi gimonego beni mondo ging'i gimonego beni gitimo mondo ywak orum ne jogweng'.
Water project nitie gi committee mochung'ne pi kendo nitie jogo ma giketo mawuotho mang'iyo shida ma consumers nigodo. Koro ka sida gi osebedo reported ne committee to gikawo action ma ging'eyo ni consumers oyudo pi e wang' sa mowinjore. Kata an kachiwo ga report ni akoso pi to gitimo repair mar kama pi okethoreno, kata en just a day, the next day to wan gi pi.
Sani koro wanyalo wacho ni yande anyalo kawo buk mandike gik masetiyo godo maket piny. Anyalo chano kaka jotich nyalo tiyo mang'e ni ng'ato ka ng'ato nigi tije. Sani endi anyalo wacho ni e gik ma mantiere e site onego bed ni itimo gi maintenance, greasing e samane, oiling e samane, painting e samane. Koro inyalo yudo ka in gi eyo no ma inyalo timo go gimowinjore e sama owinjore.
After these trainings, we realizing that now the one person who we were having were handling so many issues to the extent whereby now the water provision we could not get the right whatever, because he was the one now monitoring the maintenance, meter reading, revenue collections, record and the rest. So now we have break the whole thing into three. We now have a revenue clerk and we now have somebody who is in charge of operations and maintenance. And now we have also somebody who is now an accountant who is now standing for the records, all the records now, who can now generate the record. Now we have very good data whereby you can get them promptly for the purpose of the meeting and for the purpose of analysis.
Elaini mar county ne watero ne ward rep southwest enema pini e area ni. Koro laini mar nyicha ne wadhi mwawuoyo kode ma okone wanu andik proposal. Koro proposal manu andiko ne wamiye gi chenro kaka ne wadwaro. Koro kane chano dhigo to no dhi mondo mi owuogo gi jo county. Koro esa ma wan godo ni milion 11 manyicho wuok county otiyo kendo dhi mbele.
And then also from those trainings also has made us also now on the side of the board to do what we call now a little bit restructuring in our memorandum and article of association, whereby we want now to create some committees within the board, whereby some committee can handle procurement, some committee can handle issues of finances and the rest. And now also we have even learned now that there is need to separate the board from the daily management. So with that also we are on the side of now involving a private operator who will take full management, and now the board will now remain to do the policy making and the rest.
Before the coming of the ACT program, the consumers were just there. They didn't know that they had to have some voice. So after the ACT program, now they came on sense that they could also have some voice, so that their views could be aired to the water service providers.
Consumers are now satisfied. The providers are also now happy because we are acting as a link between them and the consumers. We disseminate information in case of the increase in the charges, water charges. We give them the information. So when there's power failure, we inform them that tomorrow there will be no water. So they fetch the water according to their demands to satisfy them for the whole weekend.
It has really helped in terms of solving conflict. Some of us were like complaining about the tariffs. We've managed to come up and work with the service providers about the tariffs. And I think the issue has been addressed.
We recognized that in the sector, one of the biggest challenges in the sector has been lack of resources. And and there's also incidences of uncoordinated implementation leading to duplication of efforts. Now, we realize that the best way to address this is to come up with a forum where we can collaborate. We bring together all the actors in the sector to network and collaborate in their activities. So we facilitated the formation of Kisumu Wash Network, and it brought together all the sector players from both the government and the civil society organizations. And we also involve development partners like UN Habitat. We also have UNICEF, and we have CODED as development partners. Basically, they are donors by nature, and they are key players in the sector, and they are members. Then we have the county government, the water department, and the public health department within the county governments.
The WASH network was formed with the purpose of at least coordinating the WASH members' activities. Those are the non-state actors that are implementing water, sanitation, and hygiene project within Kisumu County. And this came as a result of realizing that there were duplication of activities, interventions in the same area. The projects were not properly coordinated from various organizations. So it was the thinking of the project to ensure that there is well coordination of the WASH actors' activities within Kisumu County.
Yes, different people act differently, but you realize the more scattered we are, the more we are not able to address these issues holistically. And so the network then provided an opportunity to be able to integrate our initiatives and get better results, minimizing on resource wastage. The network also provides opportunity for actors to learn from each other so that we don't repeat mistakes. It also provides opportunity for people to think together, and out of thinking together, we have innovative ideas that are emerging, and that has also helped. That would also help in mobilizing more resources, because people are at different levels, people have different networks. But most importantly is that for all the resources that we have been able to mobilize, we are able to address as many issues as possible. Something that one particular organization may not exhaustively address, however much they have at their hands in terms of financial resources.
One of our strategies in working is partnership. And through the network, that's where you get many organizations which are involved in WASH activities in Kisumu. And therefore, it has value to what we are doing, because it will be a sharing forum, and we learn a lot from that.
So we brought them together, and what we did is to induct them, and they developed an annual work plan and formed 5 thematic groups, each coordinating different aspects of our interventions. And each of the thematic groups had specific roles and functions that perform. For example, there's a thematic group dealing with the monitoring and evaluation of our activities. And this thematic group has been able to develop a monitoring system and have been able to conduct monitoring on the ground.
We have had remarkable achievements to this effect. For example, for the coordination purposes, we have developed a coordination desk with the county government, where the county government has also seconded a staff who is working and is helping in coordination. We have developed structures that captures both the chief officer and the chairman of the WASH network, deputized by SANA International. So the secretary is public health and sanitation, deputized by another NGO coded. Within this structure, we are able to sustain the project. This was formed with the purpose of anchoring the projects for sustainability purposes.
First was to institutionalize this office, to mandate it to be in charge of WASH activities within the county on a full-time basis. This office now acts as the secretariat. Then we've been attending meetings. Initially we attended meetings called by the WASH actors, but then later on we now also started inviting them to our meetings. So we are working hand in hand, although we have not properly harmonized a few areas here and there, but we have started to show our concern and our appreciation towards what they have been doing. So our role is just to add value to what they have been doing, and also to take an overall charge of this mandate.
Another achievement is in terms of now partnering. I know which organizations are working where and what they are dealing with. So if I want to consult, I know which organization to consult.
Through the network, we've been engaging very, very effectively with the county assembly. I think at this point you might be aware that through the ACT project and SANA, we've been able to have 3 radio talk shows. And this have given opportunity for people to be able to address issues, not necessarily to SANA, but the water actors. So SANA just playing a lead role in terms of convening. The other bit, I think we are getting into a point where we are appreciating that we cannot stand alone. So at the moment we have quite a number of teams working on different resource mobilization strategies, proposals. We've also had about more than 4 effective joint monitoring activities, and the feedback has been very, very good and appreciated by the individual agencies whose projects were visited, because then the feedback that they get has helped a lot in improving the programs or shaping the design of the new projects. And at this point, I would also say, I think it's the WASH network that, in terms of NSAs, the WASH network is very, very close to the county governments, and I think we are treated as a very, very key partner in whatever they are doing.
We realize that when we have constructive engagement with the government, we end up having positive results, and we are able to be mainstreamed. The civil society are able to be mainstreamed into the policy making process. So effective, constructive engagement helps to create a conducive environment, working environment between all the key stakeholders.
As coded, I would say one of the key lessons that we have picked is that the relationships that you build through networks, they would support you in a long, long way. And I'm saying that in relation to other events that we've had in terms of seeking letters of support for applications that we are having. Being a member of that network has made it a lot easier and much productive in terms of seeking audience even from the county. So that for me has been a critical lesson, that you need to be part of a bigger forum to be able to have your processes and your initiatives accepted faster and by the critical partners.
The critical lesson I have learned in this network is the spirit of collaboration. Collaboration is a key ingredient to development.
In the area of water utilities, we've also learned that creation of dialogue forums is a very effective way of enhancing good customer relationship between the consumers and the water utilities. And it provides a forum for joint decision making in terms of defining a roadmap for improved service delivery.
Pigini population medore each and every day. God okay. Ma kunyalo bedo kama for the next 2 years. Babro bedo kwa onge bimoromo. To can another source ma kinyalo bedo kama bro supply mano kama supply ma onge any problem. Nyalo bedo problem one bedo ni pigini.
And at the network and collaboration level, the one big lesson is that when partners work together as a team, we are able to avoid duplication and ensure that there's more efficient utilization of resources.
If ACT changes its focus from software to hardware, and I believe we would now need their help in extending our water network.
We have the capacity on the side of knowledge, and those who we have already connected are really enjoying our services. For now we are having 200 connections, but we are having those who are longing to be connected. But the challenge is now they cannot afford to get the pipes and the labor. So that is the only area whereby we are having challenges, whereby if we can get somebody whom we can partner with and then we provide pipes, and then can also be refunded bit by bit until they complete. Then I think we are going to increase the number of those who are connected.
I would even suggest if we could get any capacity of getting some funds to get the solar plant, so that we could get it easier bit on the ways of payment. And again, even the consumers will also get a bit of lowered tariffs so that they don't complain.
This project is coming to an end in December 2014. We've gained some positive lessons which we would want to upscale to other counties. Homa Bay County has approached Kisumu to be part of the initiative aimed at strengthening networking collaboration within their areas. And we attended our first meeting in Homa Bay County about 2 months ago, and we are committed to supporting that initiative of strengthening network collaboration within Homa Bay County. So we are in the process of mobilizing resources, doing fundraising to support our upscaling initiatives, to upscale the experience we've had to the other counties, starting with Homa Bay and also to Busia and other areas within the neighborhood. And even to the rest of the counties in the country, we would want to see how we can expand the lessons we've learned to them. SANA is advantage to also be having a collaboration with the Rift Valley Water Service Board, and we are in the process of sensitizing the Nakuru County through the Nakuru Water Company to also embrace the need for networking collaboration within Nakuru County, within the sector in Nakuru County.
Within the county, I think one of the critical roles that the network will definitely have to play is to support the county government in the process of generating policies and the legal instruments that will govern the service provision in this sector. I think in terms of enhancing quality of the programs, the network is at a better position to support the primary partners to be able to develop and also implement quality programs. Again, the network moving forward should be a voice for the people and for the agencies that are in it. So I look at those key, which already we are addressing in terms of advocacy, we are addressing in terms of resource mobilization, and we are addressing in terms of finding quality and innovative ideas to be able to address for sustainability of activities in the wash sector.
And in the context of CRM facility, we look forward to strengthen the gains which have been realized in Kisumu, because there are cases where some of these structures are just coming up. The registration is just being finalized for the water consumer groups, also for the utility umbrella body, and even the strategic plan for Kisumu Wash Network is just being finalized. And all these things would still require further support to ensure that the opportunities which are there are fully tapped.